Hello, I'm Eric Hollenbeck, Director of Percussion Studies at Colorado State University. Today we're talking about the 2022 CBA All-State Band Percussion Auditions. And this particular video is going to cover some helpful kind of input as far as preparing the mallet etude. And the mallet etude from this year is from Bach's Partita No. 3, which is Bourrée, which is the sixth movement of the seven from this particular piece. Bach wrote this somewhere around 1720. And he wrote 3 partitas and 3 suites for violin. And this is kind of the final chapter in that collection that came out. Again, 1720 puts it towards the end of the Baroque period, so there's several things in the Baroque period that we need to understand in order to kind of interpret this appropriately. One is that a lot of repeated material comes up in this particular piece, in that typically in this, the performance standard practice is that you would echo that. So as something repeats verbatim, you would play it softer the second time and immediately bring your dynamics back up to what they were. And there are no dynamics, or very little dynamics written in Bach's solo music. And so this is, at that time period, understood that the performer would put those in, and it's very integral that you put those in. Now, those need to be relatively subtle within this kind of overall mezzo forte, forte presence. It's important that each line has some type of ebb and flow as far as crescendoing or decrescendoing. And every time you get to the end of a particular part, it's in 2 parts, but you'll have some type of cadential material that you need to kind of open up the time slightly. So it's as you're going to perform this as you're listening to a very interesting speaker. That makes sense. Someone that has pauses in there, has some lift or pitch change in their voice, and you want to kind of do that in this case, but it needs to be relatively subtle. These are dance forms, and so if you can imagine someone dancing along with it, you're not going to alter the tempo that much, but it does need to have signals in it of when things are coming to a close or restarting. So take this as your opportunity versus the snare drum etude versus the timpani etude as your opportunity to be more expressive and take some liberties with the dynamics and definitely a little bit of the rhythm. And you'll find that the violinists really do a terrific job of phrasing the rhythm of it. In other words, it's not exactly metronomic, and that's something that you'll definitely learn from string players in general, but violinists, is that the tempo is not metronomic and that it needs to kind of push and pull in some places, and that makes it much more dramatic and much more emotional, and that's really important that you do that. As far as actual playing the instrument, I try and encourage you to alternate as much as possible. There are some unavoidable double stickings that you'll have to do. I use about 4 or 5 double stickings in it, but most of your playing is going to be kind of getting out of the way of the other mallet in some places. In other words, a little bit of crossing, but this approach, rather than doubling, will give you the most control of developing phrases really evenly through that. So I generally use your wrist as you play, try and lift out of the instrument. I try and play every accidental note in the center of the bar and try and get a really pure sound. You're going to need something, because you're in the upper register, almost the top octave of a marimba, that you're going to need something that has some clarity to it. And I use IP300 Soloist Series, and that has a good mix of warmth down towards middle C and a little bit of articulation up top. But again, be expressive with this one and definitely put your own input in it. So thank you.
Thanks so much for watching this Colorado All-State Prep video. If you have any questions or concerns, please visit music.colostate.edu for more information, including the opportunity to schedule an individual visit with the School of Music, Theater, and Dance. Good luck on your audition!